Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have here for you. We got Cardano takes a massive beating. There's another FOIA request out. You're going to want to know about it. The update on the stablecoin bill, which drops CBDCs but gives the Fed power. We're going to get into it. How about this? Hong Kong and Ripple in the $229 billion mortgage market. Craig DeWitt, co-founder of Supermojo, former Ripple executive, gives his outcome of the SEC Ripple case. Oh my goodness, you're going to want it. And XRP breaking structure $3 to $10. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.1 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is up 0.5%. Right now, Bitcoin 27,700 plus, 1749 and change for Ethereum. Tether market cap is 83.3 billion plus. XRP is 51 cents at the moment, and it's up 4.1% on the 24-hour. Let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. It is the opportunity you're looking for. It is the digital perspective Mastermind group. Look, in a market that is collapsing all around us, and it's not just crypto, it's everywhere. I can tell you this is the learning curve you've been waiting for. You can't keep up with everything. It's impossible. But take yourself out of the social media world where you're dealing with trolls and not knowing what to listen to, and get inside of this group. There is an amazing offer that you should take advantage of. Make the investment into yourself. This is about becoming the person you want to be on the other side of these markets. How do you want to create wealth, and how do you keep it? That is what we're talking about here. This is the time to invest in yourself. Take advantage of the 3-day special trial and get inside of this group and find out for yourself. This is going to be an incredible investment for you. Get all the tools you need to help you accomplish your goals. No doubt about it. Click that link. Here we go right here. Cardano's taking a massive beating, and it appears that the SEC claims might be behind it here. Well, we know that the SEC has put out a list and said that Cardano is a security, according to them. And you have to say that Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, is saying he's calling a truce with the XRP community, for which he called us a bunch of grand conspiracy theorists. But as it turns out, we were not conspiracy theorists. We were right. And that's okay, but I'm extending that olive branch. I have extended that olive branch. I've never said a bad word about Charles, and nor would I ever. But I got to be clear, Charles Hoskinson has still blocked me, and I've never said a crossword to him. And in fact, I've done what I could to calm the XRP community when he was calling everyone a grand conspiracy theorist. So I tell you this, Charles, it is not an olive branch unless you unblock us. It's just lip service. We're stronger together. We're waiting. Speaking of stronger together right here, boy, Ashley Prosper is not one you want to mess with. I can tell you that. Before the Ethereum free pass, there was a piece of paper in Joseph Lubin's pocket obtained for him by Steven Narioff. And here we see, who did Steven speak to at the SEC to obtain the piece of paper? Well, Ashley Prosper has submitted a request to the SEC FOIA office to find out exactly who it is. That is the kind of community we have. And you know what, Charles? You could have access to all of us if you just extend a very real olive branch and start unblocking us. Meanwhile, everybody feels like crypto's dead because of everything we're going through here in the United States. But you know what? Most of the people say, well, the United States doesn't tell the rest of the world what to do. Well, I'll tell you what, there was a $3+ trillion crypto market, and now it's a $1 trillion, and sometimes under that, only because the United States is squashing the daylights out of crypto. So it is very real what the U.S. powerful regulatory arm can do to an entire global market now, isn't it? But I must agree with John Deaton here. Crypto is not dead. In fact, he says, I'll say this again. This is all about crushing the market, and then watch. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, etc. will get a bigger slice and then give Gary Gensler a call, and then there will be some framework worked out. This is exactly what we've been talking about. They're coming in and using what I believe is regulatory capture of the SEC to squash, suppress, sue certain projects to bankrupt them or near bankrupt them, so they have no choice but to reach out to a legacy firm for a lifeline to get through it all, or fail and collapse. Despicable. Meanwhile, update on the House stablecoin bill. This won't take long, but you need to know all of this because there are some serious changes here. They're talking about dropping CBDCs, but give the Fed new power here. Now, remember, this is crafted by the right side of the aisle here, so that we know that the left side of the aisle wants the Fed to have controls, right, and the federal level of government. Remember, the Federal Reserve is a private central bank, and the federal government is the federal government. They are two separate entities altogether. So very quickly, let me go through this here. The bill still allows state regulators to oversee stablecoin issuers operating in their jurisdiction, but gives them an option to hand responsibility to the Fed if they so choose. So that means the latest draft is significantly shorter than the previous version, and it taps the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System to be primary regulator and author of requirements for qualified stablecoin issuers. So they're basically saying if they could get the Fed to chime in on requirements for the qualified stablecoin issuers, then the states themselves could oversee it at the state level, but because the guidelines were pretty much put in place because of the Federal Reserve System, right, and the Board of Governors there. So a state payment stablecoin regulator shall have supervisory examination and enforcement authority over a state qualified payment stablecoin issuer of such state. The bill reads, but may enter into a memorandum of understanding with the board by mutual agreement, under which the board carries out the supervision, examination, and enforcement authority. It also gives the Fed new powers to intervene against state-regulated issuers in emergency situations. The exigent circumstances, the board may, after no less than 48 hours prior to notice of the applicable state payment stablecoin regulator, take an enforcement action against a state-qualified payment stablecoin issuer or an institution affiliated party of such issuer, it reads. The board would have 180 days from the enactment of the bill to outline exactly what those exigent circumstances would be, and these provisions do not preempt any law of state and do not supersede any state licensing requirement. The new draft also removes a section in the earlier version which called for research into possible central bank digital currency or digital dollar, which has been receiving considerable pushback from legislatures and industry. Finally, the bill proposes to amend the Investment Advisors Act, the Investment Company Act, the Securities Act, the Securities Exchange Act, and the Securities Investor Protection Act by adding a clause which excludes payment stablecoins from classification as securities. Remember, payment stablecoins. There's been a lot of talk about the payment token XRP, a bridge token, possibly getting some kind of a stablecoin designation in the future as well. We don't know that that's the case. Just keep your eyes open about the verbiage is all I'm making note of here. The term security does not include a payment stablecoin issued by the permitted payment stablecoin issuer, as such terms are defined respectively in Section 2 of the final bill. It reads, the draft leaves stablecoin reserve requirements and consumer protection rules essentially unchanged and also maintains the 2-year moratorium on so-called algorithmic stablecoins. The new draft of the stablecoin bill was published ahead of the June 13th hearing. And by the way, there's a lot of events happening on June 13th. If you haven't watched that video, I've got that video out from yesterday or the day before. You should go watch it. It is just remarkable, the events that are happening on June 13th. Here we see Anthony Welfare, Ripple Advisor. Shout out to him and give him a follow. Anthony's amazing. He's got a great book, too, called Commercializing Blockchain. It's fantastic. You should read it. I've been diving into parts of that. I'm not finished the whole thing, but it is a remarkable read. Hong Kong plans to test its digital dollar in $229 billion mortgage market using Ripple CBDC technology and the XRP ledger. Two of the pilot participants, Fubon Bank in Hong Kong and blockchain solution provider Ripple, will examine the EHKD, which is their CBDC, use in residential mortgage loans, which accounted for a fifth of the banking sector's loan book in April. The pilot project will look at a potentially giving a HKD loans to home buyers in a e-wallet, both online and offline. The pilot participants said the project aims to turn deed records into digital tokens on the blockchain, helping keep a single source of truth about the deed, which is integrated into the loan approval process. That is exciting, ladies and gentlemen. And going into this, it lays out inside here that this tokenization is happening on the private ledger. Lending protocols will run on a private and secure ledger built with the same technology as the XRP ledger. And we know the XRP ledger is an open source, energy efficient, decentralized blockchain that has been continuously operating for over 10 years without fail, ladies and gentlemen, without hack. How about that? And this right here, shout out to Craig DeWitt, the co-founder of Super Mojo, as he delves into the new payment world and networks. This guy, former Ripple executive, sits down on this podcast here and tells this gentleman what his hot take is of the SEC versus Ripple case. Oh, you're gonna like it. Yeah, and we like it. You know, Craig sounded like a YouTuber in here, man. Listen to what he's talking about. It's a scenario we've talked about quite often on this channel.
But we'll talk, hot and honey hot takes you got.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have to be crypto. It can be anything in life. But give me a couple good sound bites.
Go, crypto is life, man. You got the
right.
Those are the same thing for me. Here's my hot take.
Hit me.
SEC gets their ass kicked in the Ripple case. Absolutely get their ass kicked in the Ripple case. But the ruling comes out in such a way that XRP is alone cleared as a non-security in the United States. Meaning that with all the other stuff that the SEC is pulling, suing exchanges, suing other coins, they're going to sue some big ones as well, that only BTC and XRP have legal clarity in the United States for a 2-year period.
Just taking some show notes on that one. Ooh,
that would be like the turnaround of a century, right? Go from getting beat up by the government to being the only one with clarity because I spent $250 or $200 million fighting this case.
Is that how much Ripple spent?
Yeah, it's a public number, but yeah, like $200 million.
But
that's impressive. And I tell you, it is a likely situation that could happen. Now, we don't know what'll happen, but I believe we may be down to days, not even weeks. We don't know here, right? But I mean, this is pretty remarkable, and that could be a plausible outcome. That XRP, as we have said multiple times on this channel, could become the only digital asset with clarity in this space. And I'd even push back because I don't see that Bitcoin has the legal clarity that XRP would have should we get a determination out of this case from Judge Torres that says such. That is pretty remarkable. And think about it. While the government fights for another 2 years and the SEC goes on a tirade to squash this market, which is absolutely deliberate and intentional, we'd have 2 years where money would flow into the XRP token and ledger, priming the pump for liquidity for the world's use and having 2 years of becoming the trusted solution to move money around the world. Think of it for a moment. And then ask yourself, the XRP breaking structure equilibrium shared here by Eggrag Crypto, $3.30 to $10, is it so hard to believe? Is it so hard to believe if we get an outcome the way that Craig DeWitt spoke of, and we've spoke of multiple times on this channel, if we get that outcome, is it hard to believe that we could even shatter these numbers? Not for me, it isn't, but I'll take them nonetheless. That's what we're staring down the barrel of. I don't know if we get there, but we're here to find out, aren't we? Not financial advice from me, him, or anyone else. It's just our digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.